Just because the year ends doesn't mean that it's over. Things will continue on this course as they have been. What has happened this year is the result of what began years ago. Things gradually escalated. We witnessed the buildup of these things over the past few years, the past decade or even more. Things didn't just start happening, we just started waking up. So now what? I've been discussing the topic of a binary star, a sibling to our sun, right? There is a strong force associated with this star. We have no idea of the severity. See, we don't know how much of an impact this thing will have on us, which is a major concern here. Each time it passes through, it does something different. We have scientific evidence of past global events. Global. What was the last global event? COVID? Now that's a start. When was the one before that? I'm not talking about the world wars either. What was the last global event before COVID? I want to hear the answers, so post your answers in the comments below. Let me ask you all a question. How many of you are having nasal problems? Not so much breathing problems, but you are having a buildup, right? More than usual. You wake up in the morning and you have to blow your nose, right? You have to cough up that mucus. Do you think what is happening to you is normal, or is it the atmosphere? See, a lot of this stuff is going to get away from us, so we have to stay on top of things. These are crazy times. Crazy. Do you guys know how wealthy we are with technology? Yet we have all these issues, many of which can be mitigated with the technology available. But of course, man can be many things. You know, the ancients, they used a lot of crystal technology. That is why a lot of their technology is missing, or it is just overlooked. Technology today, they are trying to make things, let's just say they are trying to make things less physical, less mechanical, and more biological. Because that is the ultimate machine, right? A biological machine. What you are going to see is an explosion in the advancement of technology. Things are going to turn very sci-fi, very quick. Do you guys really know what is happening right now? And I hate giving good people bad news. There was an article I found on Live Science, one that was about an event that I hoped would occur later than sooner. Listen, folks, don't worry about doomsday. Even in the Bible, the world doesn't end. It's just the system we live in that does. And sometimes things have to be destroyed before they can be rebuilt. It's just very unfortunate not everyone will make it to that rebuilding phase, although they will not be forgotten. Not by God. How to watch the northern lights across far northern U.S. tonight. A small northern slice of the United States could get a rare glimpse of the northern lights on Thursday night, December 10th. A geomagnetic storm may cause the lights, or aurora borealis, to dip more southward than usual, according to Space Weather Watch. Earlier this week, there was hope that the northern lights might dip well into the United States, with aurora visible as far south as New England and Chicago. But now it appears that the best views will be within Canada and perhaps around the U.S.-Canada border. Now, who in the world would hope the northern lights would dip far enough south to be visible from the northern U.S.? They must have no idea what that truly means. This is not a good sign. Those pretty lights, that is radiation ionizing the atmosphere above your head. Space radiation. You know, if you're an astronaut, see, they don't tell you that these astronauts come back with issues. Some physical issues and mental issues. This is why you always hear about radiation shielding on the ISS. Cosmic radiation is no joke, and it is the same radiation that is causing those pretty auroras at the poles, where high concentrations of radiation pour in and out of the Earth. That's why the ISS doesn't fly over these areas. That and other reasons. they can see what's happening from where they are anyway. That means they don't have enough shielding on the ISS even as we speak. And these astronauts can only tell you so much when they return. They are prevented from telling you. But when you see things like auroras in the sky, that is dangerous radiation up there. And the fact that it's moving southward should tell you that the radiation is no longer just hitting the poles. It's now starting to hit in other areas. You can't just ignore what they are saying here. If this article is presenting true information, then that means magnetic anomalies, shifting or changes in the magnetosphere, changes with the gravity and electromagnetic fields surrounding us, the sun, the moon, Mars, and everything else in the solar system, which could be due to a binary system getting closer. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. At least not right now, I don't. So here's the thing. The radiation we get from the sun, the X-rays, gamma, microwaves, UV, infrared, parts of that spectrum are blocked by our atmosphere. They are also blocked and redirected by our magnetosphere. Now that's how it's supposed to work. It's kind of like the magnetosphere is malfunctioning. Now, other than the sun's radiation, we have exotic cosmic radiation that comes from other stars, magnetars, things of that nature. And this radiation is ionizing. Now, this is not just your everyday radiation. In space, these particles are actually like bullets, and they will penetrate everything in their path. Not all of them make it to us, but when they do, they shoot through everything like a bullet. Forget all that binding to the thyroid stuff. No, this radiation is moving fast, and it shoots straight through you, destroying everything in its path. Think about what that does to your body on an atomic level. Now, I'm not going to talk about this here. I may get more into it on the website, but think about this. Let's say the population begin to show a rapid increase in cancer rates. I'm talking about an explosion in the rates. And let's say that the population discovered that this increase in cancer was due to cosmic radiation. Now, how would you attempt to hide this from the public? Well, you could provide the population with a remedy for this. That way no one gets sick. Well, that's great, no one gets sick, but people are still going to know about the radiation pouring in on them. You have to tell them what the remedy is for, right? They're going to know once you tell them it's experimental cosmic radiation blocker. Well, not if you tell them that the remedy is for something else that is troubling the population. The delusion is real, my friends. Now, with a powerful enough magnet, you could deflect radiation like an invisible shield. That's what the atmosphere does. That's what CERN's magnets do. They are colliding particles at almost the speed of light, and the only reason they can contain that is because of those magnets. They could potentially create a secondary magnetosphere. When you have one of these particle colliders, they tell you that you need a larger collider to make the particles move faster and whatnot. Yet a settlement sits above the collider. Now, you would think that they would play with this stuff out in the middle of nowhere, but nope. The LHC surrounds several towns. There are houses. People live right above this thing. Chevry, Varaz, Prevesin. Very easy to find $1 million+ homes there, by the way. And when they charge the LHC up, like a giant magnet, it creates a magnetic field. People have seen the anomalies above CERN as the magnetic field rises up above these towns almost like an invisible dome. I'm sure there are folks who haven't considered this, but right next to the LHC and CERN, there is an airport and a lake and a national reserve. I'll tell you this, everyone, location matters, especially when you have investors. You gotta be in the know, baby. You remember the Russian billionaire in the movie 2012 and how he got a ticket to be aboard one of those futuristic arcs? He was in the know. He had access to information and he had the means to get that ticket. Real life is actually more complex and a bit stranger than that, but this is a crazy world, right? Unbelievable. See, they don't tell people that because most people can't comprehend the existence of such technology. So, they only tell a few who are privileged to have the knowledge and access, as well as money and influence. There are many biological functions in humans that depend on the balance of these cosmic forces. We cannot disconnect from it. They try that with these astronauts. It doesn't work. The day you go out in space is the day you surely start to die. But with man, no. That Eve syndrome, that curiosity and desires of Eve syndrome, where you desire to be a god, that apparently runs generations deep, all the way back to her. Here's something that was published a few years ago. Space radiation devastated the lives of Apollo astronauts. A startling new study has revealed that a troubling number of the lunar astronauts from NASA's Apollo program are suffering high mortality rates due to heart disease. The cause? Exposure to high levels of deep space radiation during their trip to the moon. This is the first time research has been done into the mortality of the Apollo astronauts, and it was published in scientific reports by Professor and Dean of the College of Human Sciences at Florida State University, Michael Delp. The conclusions draw from studying the deaths of the only humans that have ventured into deep space cast an immense shadow on the manned missions to Mars being planned by both NASA and SpaceX. We know very little about the effects of deep space radiation on human health, particularly on the cardiovascular system, said Delp in an official release. This gives us the first glimpse into its adverse effects on humans. Deep space refers to the frontier beyond Earth's protective magnetosphere and atmosphere where only 24 humans in history, all Apollo astronauts, have ever traveled. Since the end of NASA's celebrated program that saw men walk on the moon for the last time in 1972, human spaceflight has been limited to low Earth orbit, where the International Space Station is operated inside Earth's natural shielding from high levels of cosmic radiation. The study compared the mortality rates of lunar astronauts who have passed away to astronauts who never flew and to those who have only made it to orbit. You know, if you've been watching this show, I'm trying to show you something happening right before your eyes. In your lifetime. Not in someone else's lifetime. Ours. This one. And we can see how things have been. We are at the end of the year 2020 with thousands and thousands of years behind us. All gone and done. You know they are trying to pass a new bill, right? And this bill so far is 5,593 pages long. Now each page is at the most 25 lines. It would take you about a minute or two at the most to read each page. We are talking well over 100 hours of reading. Even if you tried to skim through it a few seconds per page, it would still take you a good 5 hours. As you know, there is a lot of money being allocated to certain places. More than half of that money is for defense. I attempted to do my own calculations to see if I could get an estimated total dollar amount reserved for defense, and my calculator almost exploded. For a moment, I thought I was entering credit card numbers. The numbers are quite large for defense. And then there is money reserved for just about every government program that exists, with laws attached to govern the spending. I was looking through this thing and I said to myself, wow, the United States is rich. Now you're probably thinking, well, what about us? Well, what about us? I'm sure we're in there somewhere, probably on the last 5 pages or so. I'm not going to go deep into it here. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what their focus is. The mask, my goodness. The mask are a different topic altogether. We may have to upgrade soon. So I hope you've gotten used to wearing them. Something else is coming. I am doing the research to find the best ones. It is an investment to have a real, effective mask in a time of different breathing conditions. I want you guys to be well. We will continue our journey here. Be sure to visit woodwardentertainment.com and the Woodward Entertainment store. Until next time, folks, I do plan to continue to upload during the holidays as much as I possibly can. But do enjoy your holidays, folks. Many of us have survived this year, where there are many who did not.